Welcome to The Parent Guide, helping your teen overcome pornography addiction, the podcast where we dive into the tough but vital topics surrounding teen pornography addiction. I'm Matt Bulkley, a licensed therapist and co-founder of Therapy Associates and Star Guides in St. George, Utah, where we specialize in helping teens and families navigate issues like pornography addiction. If you're a parent listening today, and you've discovered that your teen is struggling with pornography, I want you to know that you're not alone. Those feelings of worry, frustration, or even uncertainty about where to start, they're normal. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most vital aspects of achieving a successful recovery from pornography addiction, and that is open communication. Without open communication, achieving a recovery is almost impossible because it leads to driving the behaviors underground, hidden, and addiction thrives in secrecy. So we'll explore why it is so vital, what not to do, and a practical, highly effective tool that we call the Color Code Status Board to help your teen feel supported without judgment. Plus, I'll share some additional strategies to strengthen your relationship and resources to guide you on this journey. So take a deep breath and let's get started. So first of all, let's start with a question. When was the last time that your teen opened up to you about something really personal? For most parents, especially when it comes to sensitive topics like pornography use, those moments are rare. And honestly, that's not surprising. Teens struggling with pornography addiction often keep their impulses and temptations hidden. And it's not because they don't trust you, it's because the shame and fear of judgment can feel overwhelming. Research tells us that pornography addiction thrives in secrecy. A 2018 study in the Journal of Sexual Research found that shame can actually fuel addictive behaviors, making it harder for teens to break free. And when teens feel like they can't talk about their struggles, they retreat into isolation, which makes the cycle of addiction even stronger. But here's the good news. Open, non-judgmental communication can change that. When your teen knows that they can be honest without facing harsh criticism, they're more likely to open up, feel supported, and work towards recovery. So, what does open communication do? It does three big things. One, builds trust. When your teen feels safe, they're more likely to share their challenges with you. Second, it reduces shame. Normalizing these conversations shows them that they're not alone. And third, it encourages accountability. Helps them see that seeking help is a strength and not a weakness. So imagine this as the gold standard for your relationship with your teen, a place where they feel safe enough to say, hey, I'm struggling, and you're ready to listen without judgment. And that's what we're aiming for. And today we're going to talk about how to get there. So let's talk about what not to do. Before we dive into the other tools, let's talk about that concept of what not to do. As parents, our instincts often kick in when we find that our teen is struggling with something like pornography. Probably feel angry, betrayed, or tempted to clamp down with strict rules or punishments. Maybe you've tried locking down their devices or confronting them directly, only to have them shut down further. I get it. It's a natural response, but here's the thing. Reacting with anger, punishment, or even silence can backfire. The first step in achieving a recovery is to establish open communication about the issue. Not perfection, open communication. Look at it this way. Rather than the first objective being no relapses or setbacks, the first objective is for your teen to be able to communicate openly about their current management and efforts, even if this means that they are continuing to relapse regularly. And many parents need to reconceptualize how they perceive the process of recovery through this lens. Studies like those from the Journal of Family Psychology show that harsh reactions often push teens deeper into secrecy. When they feel judged or shamed, they're less likely to open up, and that isolation can escalate the behavior and only creates negative emotions that fuel the addiction cycle. Instead, we want to create a space where your teen feels safe to be honest. Now, that doesn't mean ignoring the issue or pretending that it's not serious. What it means is approaching it with empathy and a focus on connection rather than confrontation. So let me share a quick story. So I worked with a family where the parents found out that their 15-year-old son had been watching pornography regularly, formation of an addiction, and their first instinct was to take away his phone and ground him for a month, which they did. But instead of this response helping, he became more secretive, obtaining a device from his friends to access content and continuing in the addictive cycle, which drives the teens into more secrecy and pushes the behaviors deeper and below the surface. So what eventually changed things? Well, when his parents were able to change their approach and started having calm, non-judgmental check-ins by using what I'll introduce here shortly, the color code status system, he began to feel safe enough to be honest. And then over time, and eventually, he opened up about the stressors that were driving his addictive behaviors. And that shift from punishment to understanding made all the difference. So how do you create that safe space for communication, especially if your teen clams up at the thought of a face-to-face talk? One of my favorite tools is something that we call the color code status board. And it's a simple nonverbal communication system, a way to help your teen share their emotional state and their current level of impulse or urge for seeking out pornography without the pressure of a big conversation. It's perfect for teens who find direct talks intimidating or uncomfortable, and it's grounded in evidence-based research that non-confrontational communication tools can reduce conflict and build trust. And I can personally attest that this tool has helped many families begin an open communication about the pornography problem, which is so vital for recovery. So here's how that you can set it up in your home. So step one is to create the board. So find a small whiteboard or a section on your refrigerator or a bulletin board in a spot where your teen feels comfortable. And sometimes privacy might be a key. They typically don't want other people knowing what the code system is, but grab some colored magnets, maybe from the dollar store or Walmart, to make it easy and affordable. Step two, assign meaning to the colors. So 3 colors. The red would be that your teen is struggling. Maybe they've had a relapse. They're dealing with tough emotions. Yellow magnet, they're feeling urges or impulse for seeking out pornography, and that the impulse is high and they're barely managing to cope. And then green magnet would be that they're feeling in control with minimal impulses. So you sit down with your teen, you explain the system in a collaborative way, saying something like, this is a way for us to stay connected and for you to let me know how to support you without you having to even say anything out loud. And emphasize that the goal is not to catch him relapsing or struggling, but the goal is for communication to be open, for the discovery that you can be honest about this and that you know that we know, but things are still okay. So step 3 would be to encourage your teen to provide regular updates. Ask your teen to update the board daily or as often as they feel comfortable doing so. I probably didn't explain this well, but it could be as simple as placing the colored magnet on the board or on the fridge based on where their current efforts of management are. And this lets them share where they're at without needing to verbalize it, which can feel like a huge relief. So the next step is just simply creating this safe space without even using words. So, and this is where you as the parent have to practice restraint. When you see a yellow or a red magnet posted, your instinct might be to rush in and ask, what's wrong? Or why is it red today? But in the beginning, you need to resist that urge. Instead, acknowledge the board subtly, maybe a nod or a smile or a quiet, I see that you're using the board and I'm here when you're ready. And this shows the teen that it's safe to be honest without immediate pressure. And the meta communication is that they know that you know, but everybody's okay still. Next step is to let your teen take the lead on this. So over time, as your teen gets used to the board, they're posting their colors daily, you will wait for them to initiate a conversation about a yellow or a red day. And here's the thing, this might take days or even weeks, but that's okay. By stepping back, letting them lead, you're empowering them to take ownership of their recovery. And the Breaking Free for Parents workbook from the Recovery Toolbox, which you can get at the therapyassociates.net website in the bookstore, has a great section on using this tool to track progress and to foster trust. So why does this work? Well, it reduces pressure. Teens can share without a big sit down, uncomfortable talk. It promotes transparency, giving them a low stakes way to be accountable, and gives you, the parent, a window into their emotional world so you know how they're doing. And not that you have to do anything about it or make it better or fix it in the moment. And actually, that in and of itself becomes therapeutic for many parents, as their tendency is to try and fix it or to make it right, when in reality, the thing that they need to do is to take a step back, allow their teen to own it, and for both the parents and the teen to learn to sit with the discomfort of knowing that a relapse has happened, but that everything's okay. So you're thinking, well, Matt, this sounds great, but what if my teen won't even try the board? Well, don't worry. We'll get to that in a bit. For now, know that patience and consistency are key. This tool is about meeting your teen where they are and not forcing them into your comfort zone. All right, so let me give you some tips on how to make this color code status board work. So first, you've got to introduce it collaboratively. You can't present it as a rule or a monitoring tool, but instead something to the effect of, let's try this together to help me understand how to best support you. And let them maybe pick the magnets or the board and give them some ownership to it. Next, set some clear expectations, meaning that you'll agree on how often that you will expect that they'll update the board and how you'll respond. For example, you might say, I'll check the board once a day, but I won't bring it up unless you want to talk. And then to follow through on that. And this clarity helps to build trust. Next, be patient. If your teen is hesitant to engage or if they forget to update the board, don't push. Keep showing them that you're a safe person to share with, and over time, they will come around. And then lastly, celebrate progress. If you see green or consistent yellow days, acknowledge it in a low-key way. Maybe say, notice you've had some green days. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. Or if they're even just using the board, give compliments to that and acknowledge that they're putting the effort in to use the board, even if it's not green days. Positive reinforcement, as shown in studies from the Journal of Educational Psychology, show that it can boost motivation by 20%. The 101 Tips for Quitting Porn Workbook from the Teen Recovery Toolbox is also a great way to complement the board, because it's packed with, just as it states, 101 tips for quitting porn, like replacing screen time with meaningful activities that your teen can use to move towards those green days. And again, you can find that in the bookstore on the therapyassociates.net website. So the color code status board is a fantastic starting point, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. So let's talk about 4 more research-backed strategies to keep the conversation flowing with your teen. Number 1 would be to listen without judgment. When your teen opens up, resist the urge to jump in with solutions, consequences, punishments, or advice. And this is actually really hard to do. Instead, say things like, well, that sounds really tough. Thank you for sharing, or I'm here for you. A 2020 study in the Journal of Adolescent Health found that the simple concept of non-judgmental listening increases teens' willingness to share by 30%. Next, ask open-ended questions. So instead of asking, well, why did you do that? Try, well, what do you think was going on for you when you felt that urge? Open-ended questions spark reflection without putting your teen on the defense. The Breaking Free Workbook for Teens has exercises that encourage this kind of self-reflection, which you can explore together. Now, there's a concept that we refer to as analyze, not catastrophize. And this relates to how to respond to relapses. This means helping your teen to explore the variables that led to the relapse. What were they feeling? What happened during the day? What triggers they may have experienced, as opposed to catastrophizing, which means overreacting with negative emotions to a relapse. Next, educate yourself. Understand the science behind pornography addiction, like how it hijacks the brain's reward system. And this can help you to empathize rather than to judge. Our parent resource library, which is on the therapyassociates.net website, which is the blog page, has articles and videos on this. And the Breaking Free for Parents Workbook, it dives into the neuroscience, including how the teen's brain, the neuroplasticity allows new healthy habits to overwrite old ones. That's right, your teen's brain, it's not permanently damaged. With consistent effort, recovery is absolutely possible. Next would be to model vulnerability. Share age-appropriate stories of your own struggles and how you sought help. For example, you might say, when I was stressed at work last year, I talked to a friend about it and it really helped. And this shows your teen that everyone faces challenges and it's okay to ask for support. Okay, so now what if your teen resists the board or if you're seeing red magnets day after day? Well, first, don't panic. A red day isn't failure. It's a signal that they need extra support. Respond with empathy, maybe saying, I see you're having a tough day and I'm here when you're ready to talk. If relapses keep happening or if they are unwilling to responsibly participate in an open communication using the color code board, it may be time to consider more intensive interventions. So we've covered in previous episodes. Therapy associates, we offer outpatient counseling, individual therapy, family therapy, and weekly recovery group. For some teens, a more structured weekly therapy regimen might be the next step. Sometimes it's easier for accountability and open communication if it starts in a therapy setting. So visit the website, therapyassociates.net. Take a look at more information about our outpatient treatment options. And for those needing more immersive and intensive support because of safety concerns, pervasive mental health issues, sexual acting out issues, chronic deceit, dishonesty, manipulation, which has rendered you as a parent with little to no influence in their life, or if past treatment attempts have failed, then Star Guides, our residential level program, provides an intensive treatment environment that can disrupt those issues and help foster a reset. And you can visit the website, the Star Guides website, starguides.net, for more information. And make sure to listen to our previous podcasts relating to both the outpatient and the Star Guides treatment options so that you are familiar with those. Here's something to hold on to, though. The teen brain is incredibly resilient. As we mentioned in our blog, the brain's neuroplasticity means that with consistent effort, new habits can overwrite the neural pathways formed by pornography use. But early intervention is the key, so don't wait to take action. Helping your teen overcome pornography addiction is a journey, and it starts with small, intentional steps, like what we're talking about today, establishing open communication. Tools like the color code status board, combined with listening, empathy, and patience, can pave the way for deeper trust and lasting change. You're not just helping your teen break a habit, you're strengthening your relationship and showing them that they're not alone. So if you're looking for more tools, check out the Recovery Toolbox for Teens. Go to the website, therapyassociates.net, in the bookstore page. The toolbox includes the Breaking Free Workbook for Teens, the 101 Tips for Quitting Porn, and the Breaking Free for Parents Workbook, all designed to work together to support your family. The Parent Resource Library under the blog on that same website has in the range of 150 articles, tips, research-based ideas for supporting teen recovery from pornography addiction. Thank you for joining me today. And if this episode has resonated with you, please share it with another parent who might need it. And you can drop me a note or join the mailing list, Therapy Associates, for more expert tips and support. Let's keep this conversation going together. We can help your teen find freedom and purpose and break that pornography addiction. Till next time, keep showing up for your teen with love and patience. You've got this.